Welcome to a post-game edition of the It's Cavalier podcast. As always, it's your boy Mac. Joining me today is my friend and co-host Corey Walsh of Fear the Sword. Corey, first off, I just want to say, fuck the Raptors.
Fuck the Raptors. Fuck the
Fuck the
refs.
Raptors. Fuck them all. Just joking, but seriously, they pulled a
No,
pretty
Gary Trent
nice.
Jr. can burn.
They pulled a pretty nice hit job on Darius Garland today, as they could see how this game was going. I mean, Gary Trent Jr. poked Darius Garland in the eye just flagrantly. And how is this not called? Like, seriously, how is this not called? It ended up kicking DG out of the game after that. First off, man, I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
I didn't know we were allowing NBA players to take hits on players. I mean, I didn't know.
They don't allow this shit in the UFC. They don't. You can't do this in wrestling. Eye gouging is illegal. Like, come on.
I mean, Gary Trent Jr., great guy, I bet. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't like you anymore. And frankly, I would not be upset if you mysteriously disappeared from the Raptors organization within the next few days.
An eye for an eye. Literally.
I hope whoever the Raptors play next decides to take a nice gouging like a Cold Stone worker scooping out ice cream on Gary Trent Jr.'s eye.
That's fucked up. Oh man, that completely just threw things off the rails for the Cavs down to the rotations and everything. You had to think, like, I do not think the Cavs went into this game thinking that they were going to have to dig into their towards the back end of the rotation and play a guy like Howell Neto, actual live game minutes. I just do not see that happening. I did not see that happening. I'm sure they didn't either. And this in turn, caused Jetty Osman to suit up for 27 plus minutes. And Jetty was his usual frustrating self, because this man, like, 17 points and he completed 6 to 12 from the field. But the thing that pisses me off the most about Jetty Osman is that this man makes some circus shots but misses some easy ones. Like, it's the Jetty Osman experience. It's frustrating. I did not have Jetty in my initial rotation. I can't remember if you did either.
I don't think so.
But obviously, he's proven us both wrong, and he's very capable of that. So, congrats to him. I do see him playing a big role this season. But I just want to take a step back here and really analyze what we saw today. And that was, man, Darius Garland, before he got taken out, just 4 points. 2 of 8 from the field and 5 turnovers. So I just want to hear your thoughts. Walk me through what you're thinking when you're watching the initial quarter and whatnot, and how you're thinking this team actually looks out of the gate.
I think it looked a lot like an opening night for sure, especially a team that hasn't played since last Friday overall. Well, Darius in general hasn't played since then. And Darius looked hectic, erratic, basically every adjective that didn't describe Darius Garland last year. But that makes sense because, it's opening night. You're feeling the jitters. You're feeling good. You're playing against the Raptors, who are deciding to play like linebackers in NFL blitz. So you're getting a little juiced up. And I thought Darius didn't look the best. But obviously, he showed flashes of what we've seen from past season. But I think it was all very easily explainable. I would not I would not take any part of this game and use it to analyze Darius Garland's outlook for the rest of the season.
Absolutely not. No,
I was more interested to see how the starting 5 would kind of work out, and we didn't really get too long of that. So I couldn't even tell you what my thoughts are on that in general. So
I think that's fair. I mean, just heading back prior to the game, I think a lot of people really thought Isaac Okoro had a real shot at starting. Obviously, that did not come to fruition. Karis LeVert earned the start after averaging 11.7 points per game, 3 assists, and 1.3 steals, and only 21.8 minutes per game in the preseason. So, for all the, the praise that we heaped on Isaac Okoro throughout the preseason, Karis LeVert was pretty damn good as well. And both of them made their case, and Karis ended up getting the starting job on opening night. So, props to him for that. I don't think Karis, contrary to popular belief, as some people might think, I think Karis had a pretty decent first game. He moved the ball well. He was able to have the offense flowing. He did have a couple of mistakes towards the end in regards to decision making, but overall, pretty decent stat line here too. 10 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Shooting could have been better, 2 of 7 from the field, but he did hit 2 of 2 from range, and he only turned the ball over once. So we have to look at some of the positives in that. The one thing that I did not like, Corey, is that we only saw Isaac Okoro for 12 minutes.
Yeah, we
What
really
up with
only
that,
saw him
man?
for the first half, if I'm
What
being
up with that?
honest.
You think that's game flow? You think that's like after DG goes down, they're kind of replacing Isaac's defensive impact with instant offense from Jetty?
Yeah, 100%. That's where I kind of saw those minutes going. I mean, the Jetty minutes really took a spike. I feel like once Garland went out, because the offensive scoring, especially from our guards, it's really just Okoro and Levert. And if Levert's playing more of a facilitator role, like we were seeing, I mean, I don't think Karis Levert's going to have a lot of games this year with 7 assists. So I feel like everyone's roles had to get tweaked somewhat. Donovan had to become the scorer. Karis became more of the facilitator. Not that Donovan didn't facilitate at all. Donovan was really good tonight too at facilitation. But yeah, Isaac Okoro was just the person who had to pay the price for Darius's injury, because the way Isaac plays didn't really fit with what, without an elite scorer like Darius Garland on the floor, or someone who can help space it for everyone else, there weren't going to be many people that were going to generate Okoro good looks. And I know we always see these Okoro fluff pieces in the offseason of how he's like tweaked his game and he's able to do things on his own now. It still looked like to me that he needs like his plate made for him before he can do anything else.
Absolutely. I don't think that was going to change regardless. I think Isaac might always be that guy who benefits from having another creator or multiple creators around him, whether that be to find him in open spots around the corner, as a cutter, in transition, things of that nature. So I do not think that was going to change. And to be honest with you, man, I don't know if Isaac is ever going to be that guy who can self create, but he doesn't necessarily need to, as long as he can have a consistent 3-point shot and he's moving around. Tonight, obviously, that was not the case because JB appeared to make the decision to go, like we said, with instant offense. But I just do not believe that that is going to be the outcome on most nights. I do think that they're going to have to find another guy out here that can be another option. Obviously Evan Mobley is coming off that injury, and he only got the minimal time in preseason, so his impact offensively tonight wasn't outstanding. Just 14 points, and when you say just 14 points, it's like that's not terrible. But when you consider the fact that DG left the game, that's one of the guys that you would think that would need to step up, and that's kind of what I want to see out of him. He actually had the worst plus minus on the team tonight at -14. So that we needed to see more out of him tonight. But all in all, a solid performance from a lot of these guys. I think really the big thing that a lot of people are really getting pissed about is the freaking foul calls, the refs. Corey, man, what happened tonight with this officiating?
I don't know. I feel like every season we start the NBA, it seems like the refs are really rigid with their whistles. It feels like they're using
You
them
think they're
more
trying to make a
often than
point?
not. No, they only use the point on us, apparently, because, God forbid the Raptors get foul calls. But, if we so breathed on Pascal Siakam, he was strolling his way to the free throw line. I mean, for God's sakes, we got basically tackled at every other turn. And then the amount of times that I did not need to hear Austin Carr go like, oh, they know this is how they play, so they don't give whistles. I'm like, that's the biggest load of shit of all time. It's game one. It's game one of the season, man. You got to call some of these things.
Yeah, I get it. Home court advantage, whatever you want to call it. But that was just a piss poor job of officiating. Like, if you're going to officiate on one side one way, one would think you would have that accountability to do it on the other end for the other team. I mean, I get it. It's one game. It's not the end of the season. This is definitely one I was really hoping to take home. Just just to get a good taste, in our mouths here, a game one victory, and it definitely hurt to see them take the loss and to see them lose DG in the process. So I haven't checked to see what that actually looks like, how long he might be out, or if it's just the game. But one would think that if it happens to be multiple games, that is kind of a big loss, man.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely doesn't help seeing how the team's going to gel over the next few weeks. That kind of delays it, but I don't think like if this happened last year, the Cavs would be dead in the water.
Oh, absolutely.
But with Donovan Mitchell, as we saw, like it's still the Cavs can still be a pretty competitive team overall, and we're still trying to figure things out even without the Darius Donovan dynamic. It's kind of like seeing who's going to be in the rotation this year. Every year is different. I mean, there's some players last year that didn't get minutes this year. I mean, we didn't see Lamar at all.
Nope, didn't see Lamar, didn't
But
see
he didn't really
Robin.
fit into the play of the game, so I wasn't expecting him to. I mean, if we had like a bigger lead, I feel like then we'd bring him on just to allow some more clamps to be on the court at the same time. But overall, I feel like the game just got thrown in a completely different direction. So I can't sit here and be like, oh, well, from what I watched today, I think X, Y, and Z will work for the entire season, because not having Darius Garland is impossible to use for any forecasting for this Cavaliers team. He is literally the straw that stirs the drink for this team.
He is the Cavaliers.
I mean, can we talk about how Donovan Mitchell actually looked it just felt like he definitely shifted back to his Utah mindset. I feel like it just turned back into, he probably just felt like he was running the Utah playbook, honestly. I mean, he looked over at Jetty, saw his favorite Joe Ingles.
That's a good point.
Jared Allen, Rudy Gobert. He's just having the time of his life right now, minus him and Rudy not liking each other for the cocoa.
I mean, he definitely did his thing. 31 points, 9 assists, 12 of 21 from the field, 2 of 8 from range. I was a little surprised at that, but I mean, I can't be too upset. I mean, over 50% from the field. So, pretty ecstatic about that. The one thing that we know about Donovan is that he can score, and he can score in bunches, and he is very capable of conducting an offense. But we all know nowadays it takes more than one of those guys to win and win consistently in the NBA. And obviously that's the kind of the thought there with DG, and in spite of kind of playing off of each other, but didn't have DG. So what do? You continue to put the ball in Donovan's hands, and he almost got the Cavs there, man.
Donovan honestly put the team on his back. I felt like for that entire second half, it kind of felt like the Donovan Mitchell show, especially with like all the splitting defender moves that made me just absolutely stiff.
I mean,
it was the best.
He was really splitting a lot of those double teams. At one point, he had 3 men draped all over him, and somehow he still managed to wiggle his way through for a layup. It was beautiful.
Don't forget about that silky pass to Dean Wade.
Oh, to the corner. Yeah, he can do that. He is capable of kicking the ball out, drive and kick game. Definitely something that people had been clamoring for more of DG to do. And DG has started to take an upswing in that department, but Donovan is perfectly capable of doing that himself. As you see this comment down here about missing Larry Markkinen in a Cavs jersey. I mean, one of the things that we were saying when that trade first went down is that, Lowry might have been and still might be the most missed part of that trade, not Colin, not Ochai, just because of the spacing that he provided. And while I do not feel that spacing was a huge issue tonight, as the Cavs did knock down a bevy of threes, tonight to me was all about toughness and all about the refs really fucking us, and and having a lot of calls just kind of not going our way. I mean, when you really look at the fact that the Raptors took 32 free throws, just 32 free throws compared to the Cavs 23, and a lot of those came at the end of the game for the Cavs. So, I mean, just not a good balance here, not a fair balance in my opinion.
You take away the free throws, the Cavs should have won this game probably by 10 points.
And what's worse is they hit 72% of them, but they got just so many attempts that they were able to sink enough of them, 23, to really make up for the lack of accuracy.
It also didn't help that Pascal Siakam turned into prime Kevin Garnett and was absolutely lethal from all areas of the floor. Pascal Siakam was eviscerating the Cavs defense nonstop this game. He felt like in the first half, like we were just losing or like competing with Pascal Siakam.
I mean, yeah, well, okay. Well, let's just say this because maybe we're not giving the Raptors enough credit here because the Raptors are a pretty damn good basketball team, and they do have a lot of good players over there. Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes. Uh, God, I hate saying this name now. Gary Trent Jr. Still pretty solid player. OG Anunoby, they have a really good roster, just like the Cavs. But at the end of the day, the difference here was decided. I feel legitimately that the difference here was the officiating. And then let me ask you this, man, because I've seen this point kind of creep up a lot on social media. Do you think the Cavs are guilty of not being tough enough at points?
No, I think it's just that the Toronto Raptors, by comparison, can make the Miami Heat look like a bunch of kindergartners. I mean, at the end of the day, the Raptors are always known for their physical defense. That is their bread and butter. They're the lengthy team.
Switch a lot. It's very
They
switch heavy.
only draft a certain type, as every NBA announcer who thinks it's their own original idea will throw out there. It's like people say, like, "Do you know the Heat have a culture?" And it's just ridiculous. But yeah, the Raptors are a really tough barometer. So I don't think by comparison the Cavs are a soft team. I think soft teams don't have an elite defense for a majority of the season last year.
Don't know if you see that, but DG apparently has a lacerated eyelid. Jesus.
Oh,
That's going to require, yeah. I don't know if that's a time frame. I'm going to have to look at that. If you guys can provide that to us while we're on the air, I'd love that. But I don't know if that's going to require like a face mask or if he's going to have to take some games to deal with that.
Yeah, if you're a optometrist, comment down below and tell me what the timetable usually looks like for that.
Yeah, we'd love to know. That's brutal. Assuming that let's look at this two ways here. Let's first start off with the bad. If DG is to miss some time, who is your starting five?
It's gonna probably be Karis LeVert, Donovan Mitchell, Dean Wade, and then Mobley Allen.
Okay, alrighty. And who's your first three off the bench?
It would be Kevin, Jetty, Lamar.
So we not even playing Isaac. Damn.
No, yeah, Isaac for Lamar. I swapped those two.
Okay, all right. Yeah, there's a lot of minutes that can be staggered there. I definitely understand that, but
I want some Rolo minutes. Goddamn.
I want some Diakite minutes, man. Like,
okay,
I get
let's just get realistic.
Oh, so playing Mamadi Diakite isn't realistic
compared to Rolo? No.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I just in a lineup like that, if DG is to miss some time, that does not make me feel the greatest out here. Are the Cavs going to be capable of winning games? Obviously, and it's Donovan fucking Mitchell that you have in that starting unit. That's Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. These are some star players. But when you look at the upcoming games here, you got Chicago on Saturday. Now, Chicago, to my knowledge, is going to be without Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball, who's still remains out. So that is a winnable game, but I think there is sort of something to be said here about how the team is going to need to kind of conduct themselves a little bit differently here. You're already losing a huge chunk of spacing without having DG out here, but I think the play style might have to change a little bit, or you might have to get some contributions from guys who you would not normally expect. Just my 2 cents on it, but
oh no, sorry, I got distracted. I decided to take a stroll down eyelid laceration timeline, and I am I don't know how to say this, depressed. It says it can heal quickly and completely disappear within 6 months.
Okay, so according to some of these reports on here, Tim Bontemps just tweeted out, Cavs coach JB Bickerstaff says Darius Garland has a laceration under his left eyelid that caused some bleeding, but didn't have an update on how long he may be out. Sounds like Darius Garland, there's a real threat here that DG might miss a few games.
Okay, well, everyone deserves a break sometimes. Darius could take his to start the year.
That's definitely brutal, but
Can Darius play with an eye patch? It's Halloween. It would kind of blend in.
It would. I mean, we're getting closer and closer here. I mean, you look at the Cavs slate here. You have, like I said, Chicago on Saturday. You have Washington on Sunday, Orlando.
Okay. This is a winnable stretch for us.
Yeah, and then you head into some tougher games here with Boston, New York, and Boston again.
I'm going to one of those, so I hope you show up, Darius.
Hopefully he's not out too long, but you definitely are going to need to get some production out of guys you wouldn't expect. 12 minutes for Isaac Okoro is just not gonna do it for you if you're gonna be without DG. So Darius, so JB is gonna have to figure some of these rotations out quickly.
We need Dylan Windler to heal that ankle real fast, or things are gonna go south rapidly.
Dylan Windler is the make or break guy, right?
He's the glue that keeps the team together.
He's gonna decide the Cavs season.
I've been saying that for weeks.
Well, now is your time to gloat.
Pass. I'll wait until he actually steps on the floor before I make those types of accusations and predictions.
Oh man, just not the way you wanted to start this season. 108 to 105 loss. But we move this. It is not the end of the world. It's just game one. Although Toronto fans are probably going to be letting some of us have it on Cavs Twitter.
Why don't you tell me how good Scotty Barnes is, because he looked all right.
He had a pretty rough preseason. Scotty Barnes tonight, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 7 of 14 from the field, and 2 steals and a block. So, he's just one of those guys who can fill up the stat sheet.
Not everyone can be Evan Mobley, who looks absolutely yoked, by the way, might I add.
He does.
Kid looks ripped.
He definitely has been in the weight room. That much is true. We definitely need to see more out of him, though. 0-0-0 stat line put up by Isaac Okoro.
Well, in 12 minutes, kind of hard, except got to admit, Isaac, I did just give you an excuse, but that air ball at the end of the first was a tough scene.
That was his only shot attempt.
Yeah, well, I could see why it was his last.
Literally his only shot attempt. Like that. So that is obviously not going to cut it for a rotation that might be without DG. So JB, figure it out.
To be fair, Jetty had a ton of those types of shots. I mean, there was the one that bounced on the rim twice before Jared Allen poked it back in, and Austin Carr was like a little kid at a magic show being oh, how'd he do that? That's crazy.
You know what you're gonna get out of Jetty Osman though. That's what pisses you off about him, because the motherfucker is just so frustrating when it comes to making these either circus level or very tough shots and misses some easy ones. It's very J.R. Smithian. The guy just, I don't know, he has a knack for this.
He also has a knack for not understanding how to play defense in the NBA, because that guy gets lost half the time on defensive rotations. I mean, the shot towards the end of the game, which was, I forget who shot it, but Jetty had to I think Karras and Donovan tripped over each other. So then they both fell on the floor. And then you saw Jetty kind of do the Colin Sexton meme of going back and forth, trying to decide who to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And he got caught in that awkward situation. But overall, yeah, Jetty's defense did not improve during his time in the Euros. Shocker. I know. You would think after 8 years, he would get it together.
Me too, Elijah. that car broadcaster always irks me.
Whoa. We're not having some AC slander over here, Elijah. I'm just saying Austin Carr throws out some great slogans.
I'm just playing. I love AC. I genuinely relish each time I hear the dude say, "Get that weak stuff out of here." I love that, man. I was going through, I put up some Evan Mobley highlights earlier, his blocks, and that's all you hear for 10 straight minutes is, "Get that weak stuff out of here.
Get that weak stuff out of here."
And it's the way he says it. It's
with that rasp, that classic AC. I've been smoking Marlboro Reds for 20 years. Rasp.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, AC.
First sources.
AC, not a vapor. Put that on a put that on a t-shirt.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it, right?
I see what you did there.
Oh man. Like I said, Cavs return to action on Saturday against the Chicago Bulls, who will be without Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball. So a very winnable matchup that will be in Chicago in the
Isn't Lonzo
United
Ball
Center.
out?
Yeah, I said without.
Oh, I thought you said with Lonzo Ball. I
No,
was like, wait,
they'll
I
be
thought that knee
without
procedure
Zach
went
LaVine
south.
and Lonzo. And that honestly, as much as I hate to say that, that kind of makes me sad for Lonzo. Because
Oh, I love Lonzo.
yeah, he's turned things around, especially in regards to his shot. I mean, the dude's shot was completely broken when he came into the NBA. No disrespect, it was broken, and this man completely repaired it. He's like the antithesis of Markelle Fultz.
Like Michael Kidd Gilchrist form turned normal.
Yeah. So sad to see Lonzo being out, but it definitely helps the Cavs if they're going to be without DG, and again, they will be without Zach LaVine, so that does work in their favor. Let me ask you this, man, because I've also seen a lot of people raise this point too during the game. Do you think in order for the Cavs to win these upcoming games, presumably without Darius Garland, that Donovan Mitchell is going to have to score like 30 plus points?
No, I think they just have to play basketball the way that the Utah Jazz did in order to succeed, because they have the pieces to which, if the offense is completely revolving around Donovan Mitchell, it could work. I think that it's just going to have to be Donovan Mitchell's usage is going to spike in this time without Darius. I think what's more interesting is to see what JB decides he wants to do with the lineups with Donovan off the floor. I kind of feel like they should do a miniature version of it where him and Karras are now the ones splitting the reps.
Nope, Donovan's going to have to play all 48. Sorry to disappoint you.
No, it's cool. I mean, you come with your analysis. I'll just step back.
I'm just playing. But yeah, I don't know what that looks like. Like, are you going to? Because a lot of people initially felt with this roster at full health that Karras should be the sixth man, the guy coming off the bench. I did too. You couldn't deny that he had a very good preseason, but
it's all about fit. I still don't think the fit
well.
looked it.
I think it did to a degree. Like, I think the thought is that, you're not going to overwhelm them with defense with Karras in the lineup. So you're going to have to make up for that with a free flowing offense. And we know that as a tertiary playmaker, he can move the ball. He showcased that in the preseason.
I feel like Karras' strength is obviously his scoring. I mean,
For sure.
If you look at the stats, he's not like a super efficient scorer, but he's willing to take shots that only Jetty Osmond is really willing to match in that sense off of our bench. I mean, Kevin Love will take shots, but let's be honest, Kevin Love is like allergic to shooting if it's out inside the 3-point line. He'll just, except for he did have some inside game today, which was my unofficial player of the match, Kevin Love.
If it's one thing Kevin Love is capable of, and what Kevin Love is going to do, he's going to make a guy take a leap off of that pump.
There's a bird!
Another classic AC call. He got him a bird.
He's like, that's 3 birds today.
If we know one thing about Kevin Love that's it. We know he's going to be able to continuously get guys on that pump fake.
Yeah, newsflash to Cavs fans out there. Kevin Love is the same exact player from last year, which is a great sign.
When they teach that, they should just show clips of Kevin Love. When you teach that pump fake from beyond the 3-point line, you're trying to get guys to bite on that. Just show Kevin Love montage.
And outlet passes, because that's
West
Kevin Love's.
Kevin Love,
mechanic aficionado, to say the least.
Exactly. I don't know. There's just so much here to sort out and not enough time to do so. It's not our job to do that. JB gets paid the big bucks, but I think this does kind of put JB in kind of a predicament, because people are already saying, well, JB is a shit coach, which I don't get that. Like people were already questioning his rotations. I get that. But when you're like in the spur of the moment, it's not like JB has the full health. And this, you can put this on last season too. It's not like he's had fully healthy rosters 90+% of the time, and he's just bumbling the rotations. Usually when these things happen, or when he's making like an on the fly adjustment to the rotation, it's because of an injury. He's literally had to. And then DG, one of your stars, goes out. I mean, the rotations are not going to be as solid as you would like them to on game one on opening night. So I really think this puts him in a bad spot early on because he's going to have to figure out what works best even more so now than they already were already trying to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tired of JB slander. If you think JB's a bad coach, then I'm sorry. I don't think you really know basketball at this point because JB did an amazing job with the roster last year, making it even stay afloat for as many injuries as it endured. I think obviously defensively, he's a great coach. And all
Mhm.
I've ever said about JB as I guess a criticism is he should bring an offensive assistant in, which with Luke Walton, that's what you're going to have. And I think it's just you have to be creative in the NBA for an offense to work. If your offense is just so transparent that everyone in the league is going to understand it, then it's never going to work out. And it's hard to figure out how you creative to be with an offense when all of your offensive players get injured. I mean, last year it was Colin, it was Ricky, it was Darius at times, it was Evan at times, it was Jared Allen at times, and now we just lost our best overall offensive player in game one. And if people sit back after 5 games and the Cavs are like 2-3, they're like, man, this roster is so underachieving. JB should be fired. It's like, yeah, if I think if the I don't know if the Grizzlies lost John. Okay, when the Grizzlies lost John Morant, they actually did pretty well. So that's a bad example, but you know what I mean.
That's
Like it's just
yeah.
unfair.
They were uniquely built. The Grizzlies were uniquely built to withstand that to a degree. I think the Cavs are too, to a certain degree. I think you're just gonna have to get creative on how you do it. JB has shown capable of getting the most out of this roster, in the past. I think that's no different now. Is he perfect? No, no coach is. Can he work? That has a little work to do in the rotation. Sure, there are definitely gripes with his coaching style, but at the end of the day, he is getting the job done. You have to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. And this season should be just fine. But to circle to this question here, should Jarrett get more touches till DG gets back, in your opinion? Um, I think so, but I think it's all a matter of how you do that because I think that Donovan Mitchell is perfectly capable of operating the pick and roll. What does that look like? Are you trying to get Jarrett more touches as a lob threat? Are you trying to get Jarrett to operate out of the post? What I would like to see is Evan Mobley operating a little bit more with the ball in his hands. What about you, Corey?
Yeah, I felt like Evan Mobley's touch this game looked a little off at points. I feel like he had, but that's also because of the Raptors just being a super defensive oriented team. I
Yeah.
feel like everyone who Evan Mobley was matched up with could handle his dribble and his size, which is no indictment of Evan Mobley. It's more of praise for the Raptors roster that they're built like to withstand 7-footers coming at them with a handle. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I want more of Evan Mobley being a connective tissue type of player offensively. I also feel like Jared Allen will get more touches. I think Jared Allen every night could easily score 15. I would be surprised if he scores less than that, honestly. I think what we saw today is more of a reminder of how he was last year before the injury versus I think what people were remembering from the Hawks game. So Jared Allen will definitely be more involved to answer Elijah's question. But it might not necessarily be in the way that it's going to be straight up points. Like maybe Jared Allen just will be more of a focal point for defenses to need to focus on.
Yeah, we really just don't know what we're looking at this point just yet because there are some pieces that are trying to get integrated, namely Donovan Mitchell. And Donovan, appeared to pick up right where he left off with Utah last season. Doesn't look like fit is a concern here. It hasn't looked like that all preseason between him and Darius Garland. But time will tell. There's just some things that we're gonna have to see that one game's worth of tape is not gonna show us, and not gonna clarify for us. So with that being said, like we always tell you guys, if you like to reach out to us, you can at It's Cavalier _pod on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and more. If you'd like to be added to the It's Cavalier Discord chat, you know what to do. Leave a rating, leave a review, send a screenshot of said review to itscavalier53@gmail.com, and we'll send you an invite. That said, we look forward to the Cavs taking on Chicago on Saturday. Hopefully they can pull out a W, but we're going to have to see what happens with DG.
Yes, we will. Prayers
Okay.
up to the pirate.
Go Cavs. Have a good night.
Go Cavs.